Hey everyone, welcome back to the Rose Herd. It's Katrina
and Kendra.
And if you're here, that means you're here for some tea. So, as the title says, we just got scammed out of our rental deposit here in Mérida, and not just a little bit either. Out of 57,000 pesos, we only got back $9,070.20 in Mexican pesos. Yep, 9,000 pesos. So today we're going to tell you exactly what happened, how everything went down, and what we learned. So hopefully you don't have to go through this.
Because honestly, this was probably the worst, most frustrating thing about the move that we've had thus far since we've been here in the past year.
Yes. But before we get into this, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and hit the notification bell so you'll be the first to know when we drop new content. Okay, now let's go. All right, so had to hype ourselves up a little bit and keep it calm. So let me back up a bit. So last year, I came to Mérida in August to find a house for our family. And I had 10 days, just 10, to find a home, get the contract signed, have the money for the deposit, and make sure everything was ready before flying back to Virginia, which all occurred like the day before I flew back to Virginia. So I knew what to look for in a home that would fit our family. So things like size, layout, will they accept pets, neighborhoods that we wanted to be in, all of that. And I even understood like what the rental process was going to be like, the 2 or 3 deposits, whatever, walkthrough, that you treat a home like you're the owner or so.
The basics.
Yeah, and not just so much like a rental. Well, basics, yes, but what I didn't really understand at the time was the contract process, like what we could ask for or negotiate in writing.
And that's what problems really started.
Now, our landlady seemed nice enough in the beginning, very polite, responsive, all smiles. But the longer we lived there, the more, we started to realize we were basically renting from like a slumlord, for lack of a better term. Like the house wasn't bummy or anything like that. It was just the vibe and how she was.
Like stuff would break, she didn't want to fix it, or like when the hot water heater went out and almost got blown up. And
we have that on video.
She didn't respond, so we didn't hear from her. So we got help from like the neighbors and YouTube and things like that. Or when the downstairs sink fell in the middle of the night, and we reached out to her, and she was useless. Useless is the kindest of words that I can say. And we paid for all of those repairs. And when things still weren't right with that, we were the ones who had to follow up with anything that happened in the house.
And so the crazy part when I was talking about that contract, so according to our contract, we had 30 days to report any issues to her for repairs. But she knew that when I got the keys on August 31st, I was flying home the next day and wouldn't be back until mid-October. So how was I supposed to report issues in that 30-day window when I wasn't even in that country? So that clause alone set us up for failure. So when it came time for us to get ready to move out, she came over to like give us that month's pagaré, which is like a promissory note, and she gave us a list of things that needed to be done for the final walkthrough. So things like gardening and pool cleaning, making sure all the plumbing was good, ACs, biodigester, irrigation system, all things that are totally reasonable, right? So
we got everything done that was on the list that she had talked to us about. We have the dates lined up for her, told her when the people were coming.
Right. And even like for like the irrigation guy, he never even really got back to me. Like literally maybe a week or so ago, he messaged me saying like, oh, he was having phone issues and now all of his traps are coming back in. Sorry. What? It's over. The biodigester guy, he told me that they didn't need to be cleaned every year like she wanted it to be, because all the other people were saying like it doesn't have to be cleaned every year. Even our lawyers and one of our other neighbors, she was like, depending on the size, she was like, it could be 5 years. The house we're in now, I want to say, is like 10 years. It has to be cleaned out. ACs we knew every 6 months or whatever, but yeah, that's what he told me. I sent her the screenshots, all of that. But when the final walkthrough date came, she showed up with a completely different list. And suddenly we're responsible for things like washing and ironing the curtains that she left in the kitchen, cleaning the outdoor grill and oven area, which we never even used.
It was a mess when we got it.
And stayed up because lizards were always over there.
Okay.
Windows and mosquito nets, and even paying an extra electric bill that we hadn't been told about. So basically, on the day that we gave her the keys, which was like the final walkthrough date, we had already been moved out for a few weeks. So we had a double lease. Basically, we're paying rent for this house here and that house because we
was
just
done.
moved up.
It was done. We're ready to go.
Yeah. So, but you kind of like had to pay it ahead because the bills are every 2 months. So we had to pay like 5,000 something on the electric bill, like in advance payment of it, which she never told us about. And at that point, we were like, yeah, we're not getting that deposit back. Like, she's really trying to hold on to it.
It was like when we did the walkthrough with her, and it seemed like her expectation was, yes, you got the yard cleaned and the pool cleaned, like you had asked us to do, but it's been 2 weeks and you want everything to look like it had just gotten done, and that was your expectation. This should all look fresh and clean and roachless, realistically, because I know she talked about the fact that there were cockroaches in the house
And there was
we had been
cockroaches
gone.
when we got there.
We've been gone for almost a month and a half. I don't know what her expectation was, but it wasn't realistic.
Yeah.
So after we did the walkthrough with her, I had reached out to a lawyer whose name had popped up a lot in the WhatsApp groups. I'm just like, hey, we're pretty sure we're going to need your assistance when we go to meet for our deposit. And we sent her, screenshots and all that stuff.
So when it came time for the deposit refund meeting, thank God, our lawyer came with us because that lady really tried it, y'all.
And did.
And honestly, it was a mess. I know that her son was at some of the other meetings, including that final walkthrough, because he speaks English. He was in like Australia, now he lives in Paris or whatever, and he was just as rude as her. Like really rude. And so our lawyer speaks English, and at one point they were just going back and forth. But, I had been asking her for those service quotes that her son said she would send, to show what she was deducting from our deposit, and she never sent them. So when we finally sat down, she handed over the so-called price breakdown that made no sense, and over 47,000 pesos just gone. So yeah, out of that 57,000, we only got back 9,070 pesos. So she charged us for like half of an AC that she refused to replace months ago when I told her about it. We had a scratch on the door from when we got our stuff in January. The movers had a scratch, like literally one line. She restored the entire front door, replacing a plant that had died from the heat in the backyard because her irrigation system didn't reach it. And then she hired house cleaners after we had cleaned, but then she also paid for their Ubers to get their lunches, cleaning supplies.
It took 2 people almost a week, she said, to clean the house. And her gift to us was that we only had to pay for for meals for 2 days for them. And let's not forget she had to clean the biodigester to the list right there in the meeting, even though the guy told her that it didn't need to be cleaned every single year.
Yes, and so when our lawyer questioned her about it, she just looked at us and she was like, if you want to get more of your deposit back, you could take it to court. Like, it was nothing.
The audacity was at an all-time high, and she was rude to the lawyer too, which made me even more upset.
Right. So like her husband is one of like the guys that does work on our house, like handyman type things and stuff. And so she was telling her in Spanish, she was like, my husband works in construction, so I know the prices. And Marlene, she was like, and that's good for him. And I was like, ooh. Rude. I was like, did you hear her?
Rude.
Cause
so rude.
Yeah, and so like at that point, like my face, it was starting to get hot. Like we had to go to Soriana and get some stuff, and I was like, it's late already. I was like, I still have to go back in the house, cook dinner. I said we should get some Dairy Queen. I was like, my face was burning. I was so mad, like my head was hurting because you ever get someone so mad, but you were raised right, so you have to like respect your elders, and also you don't want to go to prison in a foreign country, because I was ready to fight her in that restaurant. I said that's why she picked a public place like that, because she knew that I pretty. What's the thing we used to tell the kids at the daycare? You flip your top. You blow your top. That was Ashley. You blow your top. That's really what I felt like. The top of my head was just gonna open up and steam was gonna come out.
I'm glad that I got a chance to walk away and talk to mommy on the phone, because I stepped outside and I had to even control myself, because what people walking past may not have understood the conversation that I was having. They can hear my tone. They can hear me if I get loud. And so, you know, you can be a good representative.
And she be loud on a regular. Upset loud is different. That's that
okay.
Butler loud.
Okay, listen. If you know me, you know.
Okay. So honestly, the whole experience taught us so much. So if you're planning to rent in Mexico, please learn from our mistakes. Starting with lesson number 1. Always have a lawyer review your contract.
Anything that you have to sign, and it may sound like overkill, but again, this is not the country that you're from, and so the rules are different, you know, in different countries. And so while we had someone look at the contract in the beginning, it was not someone who understood contract law. And those are two different things, just regular law and contract law.
Right. Number 2, make sure that your contract clearly states who is responsible for what repairs, who holds the deposit, when it's returned, and what counts as a valid deduction. Have everything written down, signed, and dated, and make sure you get a copy in English.
And then I would say that that third most important thing is document everything, all the pictures when you do your walkthrough. And we're grateful to Maru, who went through and did pictures and videos of the whole entire house. There was a toilet that was in the service room that she had pictures and video of her and the landlord. The issue was that the toilet was zip tied underneath, and so you don't know that it's zip tied underneath. And it wasn't until she took her after pictures that, you know, it shows that it was broken and zip tied underneath. I'm the one who found that it was zip tied underneath when I sat down on it to bathe my dogs and almost fell in the toilet.
Yeah. So
if it ain't documented, it didn't happen. Period.
Yeah. So number 4, be cautious with overly nice landlords. So niceness does not equal fairness. People can smile in your face and still take advantage of you.
Especially if they assume that you're foreigners and that you're not going to do anything about it, that you won't press it, you know, you'll just let them do whatever they want.
Exactly. And even just like having a lawyer can make a huge difference. And it definitely, you know, made her think twice about, you know, pushing things further. At the end of the day, I was like, you know, I really just wanted to be done with her. And I really did not feel like going to court over 9,000 pesos, because really when you convert it, it was like less than $500. Granted, that's still $500 that I could use,
for sure.
But
that's right.
A portion of it. Yeah, a portion of it. But yeah, I was like, it wasn't worth going to court over, where you have to pay even more in like lawyer fees and court fees and all the other stuff. We don't know the legal process here. We don't know any prosecutors here, though I'm sure we could be introduced to some, but it just wasn't worth it. So at the end of the day, we still love living in Mérida. Sure. This experience didn't change that, but it was a reality check. You know, living here is not all sunshine and tacos, literally, because it's thunderstorming right now. And sometimes you just have to deal with messy, unfair situations, just like anywhere else.
We want to make sure we're sharing the good and the bad with you guys, so that way you know what you're really walking into when you come.
Yeah. And if you found this video helpful, or you've had something similar happen to you, drop a comment below and let us know. We'd love to hear your experience all about it.
And don't forget to like the video, and it helps to reach other people who are thinking of moving to Mexico as well too. So like and share.
And if you are planning your move here, check out my course, the Exodus Planner, a DIY guide to moving to Mexico. It walks you through everything from housing and budgeting to common mistakes like this to avoid.
Because trust us, you want to be prepared.
All right, y'all. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Millennials,
bye!
Oh, no, man. Damn, darn it.
Not even gotta do editing to put it in there. That it was you and not us.
I'll be like, dog fart. I swear, I promise.